I should have learned this from the last time. I tried to do one of these.
Mason Lane, no look, back change.
Not that often. Howdy, y'all. So, we had the Northeast Sectional. I keep calling it the New England Sectional. Pretty sure I'll screw it up at some point during this video and call it the New England Sectional. It is the Northeast Sectional. But, we did that this past weekend. I was able to manage to scratch out first in production. Hi, buddy. You gonna stay for the video? Maybe. This is Hades, y'all. He's gonna interrupt me a few times, I'm sure. So, we had that match this past weekend. I was very happy for the most part with how I performed. I've got a couple of nitpicking things just to get myself better. Obviously, that's always the goal. So, I hope y'all enjoy watching through the match. I'm going to play it through all the way without any breaks to start, and then I'll have my commentary and analyzing my footage and my performance afterwards. So please stick around all the way to the end of the video. The view time, the watches, views, whatever you want to call it, all of it does help this channel out greatly. And so if you enjoy this kind of content, then please stick around, and I'll chat with you guys in a second after you guys watch the match.
Ready. Stand by.
Finished. Unload.
Stand by.
Yeah, finished. Unload show clear. It's finished. Unload show clear. Clear, hammer down, and holster.
Are you ready? Stand by.
It's finished. Unload show clear.
Stand by.
It's finished.
Mason Lane, no look, back change.
Not that often.
Running backwards, yeah. Stand by.
I should have learned this from the last time I tried to do one of these, but the processor, I'm assuming, on my computer, I'm not a huge computer guy, but my computer does not like recording while I have these videos playing, and starting and stopping them did not work very well. So I'm going to separate these out, and I'm just going to talk through it instead of trying to use the mouse to point, which probably doesn't show up all that great anyway on the audio or video. The audio should work better. Stage 2 started with the steel stack. The activator was a stomp pad that was outside of the canoe that you started seated in, and you had a oar in both hands to start, and the gun on the bench of the canoe. So plan, hit the activator as soon as the beep goes off, hit the initial steel target so that it would fall by the time I got to the back one, and then take the swinger when it was available. There was also a couple other paper targets that were available from only the canoe, so take those in the order that worked for the timing on the swinger. It worked out great to hit the swinger after the initial big popper, then come off the swinger, hit the mini popper. So that worked out as perfectly as I could have asked for. Then I decided to go to the right on the stage instead of the left, which a lot of people did because they felt it was a lot easier to come out of the canoe going to the left. At least right-handed shooters did. And going to the right was a weird turnaround, if you can see that. I also decided to, as I turned around to get into the shooting area, take the far target on the left. That way I could actually back out on the far right open target to the right of these barrels. That worked out great for me. I wish, in hindsight, looking at the video, that I would have started backing out of it a little bit sooner. That's something that over the course of this match, especially watching the videos back, I did realize that I was planning on moving on targets or exiting on targets that I didn't actually end up doing during my stage. So that is something that I will be having to work on to make sure that I actually do it when I'm intending on doing it. But that was that. And then my one mic on the stage was on this last tuxedo target, and I kinda thought I pushed the shot, but I wasn't 100% sure, and I was just trusting myself, kinda chalking it up to the first stage jitters. Not that that is something that I should be using as an excuse. Something I will need to work on for the rest of the major matches this year at minimum, and I have plenty of local matches to use as good practice. Stage 3 went pretty well overall. I took a couple of makeup shots on the second steel target, but the one that I was entering on, I did start shooting as early as I wanted to for the most part. I waited a little bit till I cleared it, but that felt good overall. And other than the delta, and in general, I shot a little bit sloppy this match. There was a lot of Charlies and a few too many deltas. I'll clean it up. I was really focused on the movement for this match and as a whole. Stage 4 was, I believe, the highest round count of the match. Felt pretty good overall. Coming into this second position, I did not call the second barrel hit, that second shot that I hit the barrel. That's why you'll see me go to the stack target and then go back to the target behind the barrel, because I heard it and I was already off of the target by the time I heard it and processed it. So went back so that I didn't have the mic, which was good. I did need the extra shot on it, and it only cost me a little bit of time there. And then there was a lot of people that took the last two targets that I will get to here in a second. From here for the no shoot target, and then the final target that I take, they took from pretty much the back before you got to where I took a second position. I decided to use my extra height to lean out, as you're about to see, because that wasn't that bad of a lean for someone that is 6'8" and still somewhat young. So that wasn't too terrible. I did like the plan in general. I saw a lot of people run it without even going to that little opening where I leaned out of. Don't think it really hurt me too much. I think most of what hurt me there was the extra time for the makeup on the barrel. And somewhat sloppy shooting. This one wasn't the worst. Stage 5 was very similar to a couple years ago at Area 7 with the bridge. Targets were slightly different. I wanted to be shooting a little bit earlier than I did start shooting on the top part of that platform, but I was also pretty focused on getting up onto the platform and stable. Something I'll, again, have to work on. I was happy with most of how I did shooting into a position for this match, but that stage, watching the video afterwards, I was a little disappointed with that one, and the hits were pretty sloppy for such a short course of fire. This one on staff day was a little interesting because these were both in the same bay, so running them side to side was a little rough for staff day. I don't think the rest of the weekend was too bad, although I didn't work these stages. This stage was a 3 per paper target course of fire. The right steel target activated the max trap, and then the left steel target activated the swinger. I figured to eat the time with loading the gun and drawing, going to the left, and then back out on the open target. I did not finish my 3 shots on the max trap before the no-shoot closed, so I was very happy that it was still available. I just kind of knew I was going to be aiming up on the target based off of the time. I wanted to finish out the steel as I was there, and it was a very close head box, so it wasn't that hard to hit. So that's why I just did it that way, even though I did not get the target fully available before that max trap closed. That one went pretty well overall. Wasn't the fastest time in production, it was, but it was pretty smooth overall. I wasn't too disappointed in that stage. Stage 7, 7 was a strong-handed only stage. I called a mic into the hardcover on that first target. Then that target for the lean for me wasn't bad. And then I was pretty happy other than the makeups on the steel over to the left. But the timing on the swinger worked out perfectly, and even strong hand only, I didn't have any issues with that. This stage, I did screw up my target order on this second window. I intended to shoot the steel activator before I shot the tuxedo. My eyes just got drawn to the tuxedo, so I just shot it while I was there. And then as I shot the steel target and was waiting for the swinger to actually activate, I realized I can at least still hit the target, so get a shot onto the target first. That was my delta for the stage, was that one before it was activated. And then I saw a couple people taking this last tuxedo as they finished up the target array to the right, so you didn't have to really slow down and swing all the way to the left to swing back to the right to take it. And I did like that one. I meant to be standing back a little bit more in the shooting area so that I didn't have to actually shift over to it. But that didn't cost me more than half a second to make that transition. And I still nicked the edge of the black, but it did touch the scoring part, so that's what we end up looking at right afterwards. And then the little piece of not the stage that I kept in from my hat camera, this stage, because I was very focused on that target, that's hitting the scoring zone. That was my thought there. I neglected to turn my hat camera off, and one of the guys on my squad decided to give me a little bit of made the comment about me trying to act like Mason Lane and doing the no-look reload as I ran backwards on the stage. So that was the interaction there. The hat camera caught it a little quiet at the beginning, but I thought it was funny, and I was glad I had it on hat camera because it was a fun little interaction showing a little bit of the squad interaction after the stages. Even though I didn't really know a ton of the guys that I shot with before this match. We had a great day shooting together, and I wasn't complaining at all. This was the first stage that I ever shot one of the reduced-sized targets in a actual match. I've shot them before in practice, but I've never shot them in a match. Wasn't too disappointed with how this one came out. It felt very slow for me, but the mic on the Tuxedo that you can see right now at the beginning of the stage, and I shot at the end of the stage, that was my mic there. I thought that I pushed the shot a little bit to the right, but for me that's very odd to push a shot to the right, so I was just like, alright, it's probably fine, and I called it wrong. I should have trusted that I felt it was off, and then taken a makeup shot on it. I had the rounds. But it is what it is. That was my second mic of the match, and I only had the 2, so my hits will need to get cleaned up for the rest of the year. But some good takeaways, and it still worked out for this match for me in production. This is stage 10. This was the stage I worked all weekend. I really wish I would have seen one of the stage plans before, and I don't know why I didn't really see it during my walkthroughs and checking out the match beforehand. But I did the first part of the stage in one of the fastest options until the 3rd position. So first 2 positions were fine, and then at this spot, instead of going straight to, or even if I take these 2 opens to the left, I should have gone to the hardcover through the port on the right hand side of the stage. I left that one, and I don't know really why. I should have taken that there and taken the inside right hand side inside open of the up down up stack, or array, not stack, sorry. But that way I wouldn't have had to do the final shimmy in this last position. I did have to cut some targets due to the production round count, but instead of doing this shimmy here, I would have been able to end on that no shoot and still shot the rest of the targets that were in that last position on the move in, or as I finished up instead of having to shimmy. So that probably cost me about a second. It was really the only complaint I have about that stage, and it was a stage planning mistake, not an execution mistake. So that's one thing that I don't know why I missed it, to be completely honest. I should have seen that going into the stage. And then the final stage felt really good. I went back and forth on a bunch of stage plans on this one, and I ended up very happy with it. Taking these 2 targets and then leaving that target to the right so that I had enough rounds to finish this out, and then I can finish a reload before I see that target again, hit the steel. At this point, if I had more than one makeup, which the steel had one and then that tux had another, I knew I had to reload again before those final 3 targets, or I would have ran out of ammo. So that's why I did that 3rd reload. If I didn't take those makeups, I wouldn't have had to. But overall, this was a very, very fun match. I had a great time shooting with some people that I know of and I've met in passing before at other previous matches, and then even working the rest of the weekend. The competitors and the staff are great as always. I really do like this community a lot. So I always appreciate going to these matches and seeing everybody as staff, between shoot with staff and then working the match. They get to see a wide variety of people, so I always enjoy it, and then SIG treats us pretty well as staff. So that's my New England sectional match. Northeast sectional, I just did it again. That's my match. It was good enough to take production win. There is some lessons to be learned there, and I hope you guys enjoyed my breakdown of what I was thinking and my thoughts on my execution of the stages, and I hope you enjoyed watching the stages in general. I thought they were very, very good stages in general. Kyle Narcom always does a good job designing his stages, so I'm sure many of you have shot a stage that he's designed before. But As always, I do hope to see y'all on the range, and I will be staffing at least Area 7 and the Trident Armory Standby to Fly match. So if you are at either of those matches, I'll be staffing, and I'll see y'all there. And I hope to see plenty of more of you on the range.